Alright, let's check out how to make a IGC using sequencer, or sequence, sorry. No, it is sequencer. Oh jeez, it's so confusing. Sequencer, sequence. Should have named it something else. Alright, let's do a little step-by-step here, but first let's check out a quick example. We'll go with our instructions to search the trailer. Alright, talk to the angry mechanic. Oh, he disappeared. Where'd he go? I bet I know what problem there is. That's... Oh, we don't have a do once on that either. Alright, so quick summary of how this is done, and then we'll do a step-by-step and recreate a new one. So sequencer is added by going to your cinematics, and you want to add a level sequence. So when we add a level sequence, it's an individual asset. It asks us where to put it. So I'll put it in my hanger assets and name a new one. We'll call this one the Waving Man. And we'll debug our other one after we do this little sequence here and animate properly. So right now this is set up just like Maya or many other animation tools. We have our timeline here. The numbers up above show our frames. We're at frame 0. This is frame 15, which is half a second if you're counting in 30 frames a second. So there's a second, there's 1.5 seconds, there's 2 seconds. Very simple stuff. So right now there's no tracks over here. If you look at our empty track area, the only way we're going to get tracks in there is adding animatable objects. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a camera. And I think we'll do something silly, like we'll run out of this door and we'll have the waving man waving at us across the hangar. So we'll come out here and then the camera will turn on and we will see the waving man. So our first thing to do is add a camera, which is an actual object in Unreal. Best to just stick with the simple camera. You can certainly mess around with the Cine camera, it has a lot more options to it. So we get the picture-in-picture, which is great. Drag in our level, adjust it a little bit. Think about where our character's going to be. I think I'm going to want to see my character when they hit this trigger. Go over here. Have my camera there. Now let's go to sequence and add this to as an actor. So I click on track, actor to sequencer. Now I have it selected right now, as you can see, so it's automatically appearing at the top. I can also search for it. Camera, actor 2. And right away it shows the object, camera components, field of view, transform. You can certainly animate the field of view, but for cameras most of the time we just do location and rotation. So location, rotation, you cannot animate the entire scale of a camera. Hopefully it just gives you an error, doesn't do anything. When you do that, you can't scale a camera. Alright, so first thing we want to do is let's set a keyframe at 0. I need it to stay at its start position. I like where this camera is. I like what it's looking at. I can see the picture-in-picture. So with my transform selected, I'll just hit enter. Obviously I could have just clicked on location as well. Next I'm going to think how long, what kind of movement do I want to have it do. I think I'm going to have it pause for at least half a second. 15 frames and not move. And then I want it to move across the hanger and show our waving man. So I'll move it to frame 90. And I'm going to now make sure your time frame is at the correct frame you want to set the keys. If you do all this movement and everything and it's back here, it may overwrite those keys set at 0. So as you come back, your camera's going to get reset to where I'm moving it now. So move the time frame first. So let's zoom in. Looks pretty good. Now let's hit enter. And do I see a line? I see the frames and I do see a line. So this path is critical. Occasionally this does not work. And I can't give you some undeniable perfect answer as to why. Sometimes you just have to go back to frame 0, reset its original position, move it to frame 90, and then move the camera again and hit enter again. And it works. So I've had many issues with that. Looks like it's going to go right through the wing. So we can make some small adjustments to that in a second. But for now, looks pretty good. And obviously I could scroll back and forth and see what it's doing. Looks pretty smooth. Maybe going under that wing is not so bad. Maybe it adds good context. So to trigger this, I need a, I think I'll run up here and do a trigger. So let's just do your typical trigger volume. And when I run up to these stairs, right about here, I want to trigger this. I think my intent is to come out this door and trigger it from the original office upstairs, or control room, whatever we're calling it. So here's my trigger. Open my blueprint. Let's add an event, a collision event. Once I overlap it, I want to create a sequence player. So create a level sequence player. And the level sequence asset is what I just animated, which is the waving man. Oh, I named it SM. Should have been SEQ. Rename that properly. And one thing I should do is make sure I saved my sequence. And from here, what I want to do is play the sequence. Right here, play sequence player. So this checkbox will lead us right to the sequence player shortcuts, or it'll try to. And it does in this case, play sequence player. Now this extra little node was added, but we don't need it because we're putting our target right there. So this should play it. Whoa, that's pretty fast. So one thing I can do is slow that down. It's a little abrupt too because I'm coming up the stairs and it changes camera. I'm intending it to come out the hallway. So maybe we'll do that. Help that out. Let's take these keys and move them. That feel a little bit slower. Should move my character so I don't have to keep running up here. So that backward movement is an interesting little tidbit, which is good because this will help us fix it. So when you see that crazy backward movement, let me move my player so it's a little smoother, feels more natural. I like how it holds on that character. So what's happening here is, for some strange reason, it's going backwards instead of forwards. So a quick fix to this, which all animation tools have. So we go up here to look at our curve editor. So instead of us redoing these keys over and over again and trying to get every key perfect, you go to the curve editor. It'll show you more data. So right now what it shows is, well, what does it show? Oh, I think I had one key clicked. Well, maybe not. Oh, there we go. Ha! Got to click on my transform. All right, so at the beginning here, we're seeing some strange. See how it goes backwards? So from this key to this key, it wants to go backwards. So one thing I could do is we could change the key on it. Instead of it to be, right now it looks like it's broken and we can adjust it. We could make it linear. I might get rid of some of the weirdness. See how that works. There we go. So what it was doing, the curves were set to it, so more like a Bezier, so that the handles on it, we saw those handles. And this is very much animation stuff. If you look at this right here, and I set it to be break, now I can adjust this. I can adjust how the curve works. It'll change the movement, and you can see how my curve is changing there. So same with this one, I could add auto, and it's kind of more of a bend to it instead of as harsh as mine was. So you see how it's bending outwards. This is probably on the X now I'm adjusting. So I could slowly adjust the pattern of the X a little bit. Go to audio. Can't tell what that's doing. Let's try it out. Whoa, it shifts to the left a little bit and then takes off. So you can make minor adjustments just by doing this. Let's just make this linear. Keep it nice and straight. All right. Nice straight camera. Still think it's taking too long. Gonna get out of my curves. And I'm gonna grab this again. Drag it out again to 165. Now this red line right here signifies the end of the animation. It's not gonna keep our camera on if this ends here. So we're gonna move this out so the camera stays on for a little bit, looks at our guy. Gotta make sure we drag our camera out as well so it keeps the camera on. Let's try that again. All right, perfect. Very simple camera setup. And that's pretty much how you use sequence. If you want a little bit more embellishment to it, what you want to do is the minute we want to set cinematic mode, this will stop our player and we could hide things. So right now, do I want to hide the player or just, no, I actually don't. I'm not going to hide it. I am going to not let movement or not let him turn. So one thing to remember is these are individual checkboxes. This is the master switch. So set cinematic mode right here, on and off, turns the whole mode on. So we want this to turn on. And at the end of our animation, we want it to turn off. Now I'm going to have to add a delay here so it doesn't immediately turn on and off. And the time for our animation is 210, that is 7 seconds. So at 7 seconds, we will, not 70, 7 seconds we will resume control. So walk up. I'm hitting my controls, and perfect. So my character didn't move during the cutscene. It didn't get in the way, and I was able to resume control. So another quick fix. I need to do once here. I only want this to play once. I can destroy the trigger volume if I want. So 2 ways to do this. Grab our trigger volume. Let's make sure this is saved. Grab our trigger volume. Right click. Box is checked. Create reference. That's my trigger volume. Destroy actor. We'll destroy that after. You can also do a do once. Oops, not finding it. 2 words. There we go, 2 words. Do once. This will just tell it you only interact with this trigger once to play this cutscene. So either way will work. And the last thing we want to do is, and if you want to hide and unhide text and play audio, it's just like we did with everything else. Play the sound right in here. Unhide the text right here. Last thing we want to do is debug that other one. So from this one, nice. Didn't happen again. That worked. And he disappeared. And I know why. I think I'm supposed to talk to the mechanic here. Yeah, that's all good. So let's look at that cutscene really quick. This should take just 1 second. Cinematics. Sequence Angry Mechanic. Opens it up. So what's happening is my mechanic right here that's moving. Let's watch him move. Where's the door? There's the door. You can see the little lines since I clicked on it. His animation. Whoosh. Whoosh. And as you can tell, I have the audio in the sequencer. Just drag and drop it in here, put it the right frame. So what's happening after this is done? It's snapping back to its original position. How we stop that, if you click on the transform right here in an empty spot and right click, properties, when finished, this needs to keep state. Project default is to reset it. So now I go, oops, I'll keep triggering that. Oops. That wasn't appearing until then. I have a condition set to that. He's still there. Ooh, he's a big mechanic. And now I talk to the mechanic. Alright. Problem solving. Making a quick IGC camera movement, little IGC in sequence. And as we could see, we have the audio in here for the Angry Mechanic one. And if we look at Blueprint, as you can see in the blueprint, it's the same thing I did. We are making sure that you have to, before you hit that trigger, you have to actually touch the text that says investigate the little cart. That's what this is setting. We want to do once so it doesn't keep hiding and unhiding actor and playing the cutscene. This is hiding and unhiding text. We hear the newspaper. That's when I pick up the yellow evidence. It now sets new condition that yes, you found the evidence. I can't move now, cinematic mode, delay, play the sequence player, the animation, which is our camera showing the guy come out of the door, delay again, hide the text or unhide the text, and then give us control back to our player. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, hope that helps you creating a little IGC interactive experience for your levels. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.